played a game before. Maybe you battle it out in a multiplayer match before school. Maybe you solved a puzzle. Or maybe you created this whole game concept in your head while spacing off during class. Now, here's the question. How many of you realized you were learning while you played? Games. Play. These shape our daily lives in countless ways. As kids and teenagers, we play at home, at school, online, with our friends. Even many adults, after a long day of work, often turn to games as a source of relaxation and connection, sometimes joining us online or playing with their friends and family in their own time. In one way or another, we all play. Personally, I don't enjoy playing popular video games like Call of Duty or Valorant. That kind of gaming has never been my thing. I have never, rushed home to get on a console for hours. Not because there's anything wrong with those type of games, but because I crave something different. I don't enjoy the endless grind of leveling up or the pressure to constantly compete. I want my rewards quicker, more meaningful, and connected to something I can actually use in my life. Now, some of you might argue that your favorite games do educate you, whether it's strategic thinking in battle royales or research management in simulation games. You're absolutely right. But there are other types of experiences that have captured my attention. GimKit and Kahoot in the classroom, the IB NYP design challenges, or even the educational games I discovered at the Games for Change conference in Hong Kong. These experiences didn't solely just entertain. They are designed to help people understand important topics they might not come across otherwise. Issues like sustainability, mental health, and social justice. Things that textbooks alone struggle to make us truly feel. Did you know, games are originally designed to help us interact and connect with each other, to build communities and share experiences. But here's the irony. Some of today's most popular games end up doing the exact opposite, isolating us in our rooms, glued to screens, barely talking to people around us. Have you ever thought a game you're playing could actually teach you something as important as a history lesson? Have you ever thought it could go against the usual structure of killing the monster and saving the day? I'm talking about interactive experiences, anything from card games to digital simulations. These games are designed to help us learn, think critically, and connect with real-world problems. Now, why games as a type of learning? Sure, listening to a podcast or reading a book is fun, it is useful, and it is interactive. But games offer something unique. They help us experiment, design, and make decisions in real time, turning passive information into active discovery. But who am I? Well, my name is Emma Wells, and I'm a student here at SIS. Of course I want good grades, but I also want learning to be more meaningful, more creative, and more human, not just a checklist of assignments on Toddle. Last year, I had the incredible opportunity to design and present my own arcade game at the Games for Change conference in Hong Kong, which gathered students, educators, and professionals who all use interactive experiences to expose people to topics they might not come across otherwise. What I learned there didn't just change my perspective. It fundamentally transformed how I viewed the relationship between play, learning, and what it truly means to grasp complex ideas. At Games for Change, I saw firsthand how different companies use interactive experiences to educate and inspire. For example, GimKit, which many of us have played before, makes memorization and review in the classroom more fun and exciting by turning those quizzes into interactive competitions. Kahoot works the same, but focuses on team play and fast-paced decision-making to boost motivation. These programs both use technology and social interaction to make boring review sessions unforgettable and exciting for the classmates. One game I encountered at Games for Change told a story about someone who had lost a family member. As you played, you moved through conversations, memories, and choices that reflected grief and sadness. This game wasn't a fun game in the usual sense, but it created a safe and reflective space for those who needed to explore their depression and loss, and to connect with those who had felt and gone through the same things. Another game I played was a fishing game. Players held a real fishing rod connected to the screen, and your goal was to catch as many fish as possible. Simple, right? But the more you played, the more you realized that the more fish you caught, the worse the ocean actually became. That simulation used play to make us realize what overfishing and unsustainable choices do in our real ecosystems. Using these two examples, I realized that play can help us understand any topic and tackle any topic, no matter how heavy or light. The grief game taught me that play doesn't have to be cheerful to be valuable. It can create empathy and understanding in a different way. The fishing game taught me that play can reveal facts and reveal consequences that facts and figures never could. Now, this is when I realized that any interactive activity can be a game if it invites you to test ideas, design, experiment, and learn from your mistakes. The IB/MIP design cycle I used to make my game reflects this perfectly. It invites us to investigate, develop ideas, create prototypes, and learn from our mistakes. And it's not that textbooks or lectures can't reveal collaboration and connection and creativity. It's just that games give us that space and give us the time to go through every process. You see, when we create something interactive, our brain goes through a process. It goes on a journey. And we go through every single process. And our brain has to memorize what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we're doing it. Over time, it embeds itself naturally in our cognitive memory, making it easier to recall later on. The difference between seeing and doing is significant. Don't just take my word for it. The evidence supporting game-based learning is impressive. A 2024 Frontiers in Psychology study showed that students who designed games or interacted with games in the classroom developed better curiosity, empathy, and motivation. At the University of Lincoln, over 70% of students reported better long-term retention and understanding of sustainability topics they use while learning through games. Additionally, a 2025 National Institutes of Health study showed a 30% increase in students' emotional regulation who engage in games while learning compared to traditional methods. So, what can we do with information? How do we bring more meaningful play into how we learn, how we interact, and even how we teach? Here are 3 steps we can move towards with today. Number 1, when we hear the word play, many of us think of wasting time. But research on play already shows that playful experiences give us those thinking skills that are core and key when solving complex problems. And we need this now more than ever. Over 73% of 16 to 24-year-olds say they struggle with loneliness only because they don't know how to interact with the world and how to connect with the people around them. As a society, we're losing our abilities to converse and interact with each other because we lack the understanding of how to talk to the people around us. Number 2, play, whatever it looks like to you, always has and had a purpose. It might mean hanging out with your friends after school. It might mean solving a puzzle by yourself. Or it might mean going to a conference to talk about with CEOs and programmers about ideas that matter to you. The beauty of play is that it takes us to places we never expected to go and teaches us things we never expected to learn. Number 3, when we create something interactive or creative, we stop seeing ourselves as passive receivers of knowledge and start seeing ourselves as creators of change. So get designing and get creative and find your style of play. So let me ask you this. What if play is not the opposite of hard work, but the way we discover what is worth working hard for? What if play is the answer to our problems today? What if it can teach us to better understand the movement of planets better than any textbook ever could? What if this is what we need to be able to communicate with our friends even clearer? This isn't just a story about me, one student who enjoyed a designing unit last year. It's a story about all of us. The need to connect, to interact, to explore in a world that is changing so fast. So, how will you choose to learn? Thank you.